Hello and welcome. I'm Peter, and we're here to make progress, not perfection, but on that way to progress, we need to learn how to deal with this move. As well as how to deal with the follow-ups / mix-ups that come afterwards when you get hit by down 3-4. So this is a very common situation to be in, and we're going to talk about the major common possibilities that can occur. Anyways, this is my second guide, or part 2 rather, of how to counter Hwoarang. If you haven't seen part 1 already, please go ahead and check that out up here, because it's going to be crucial on understanding the character, especially if you haven't learned how to deal with the stuff that's not in stance, because today we are going to be talking about stance. We're going to talk about right flamingo, because down 3-4 transitions Hwoarang into right flamingo. And if you don't have the punishment down or how to deal with the moves that don't involve stance, you're going to have a hard time with this. Anyways, let's get to it. Before even diving into how to deal with the pressure, once you get hit by down 3-4, we need to understand that our goal is to avoid being in this situation altogether. Our goal is to not be in this situation if possible. If you happen to be a character with good keep out moves, when you see the space close, you can just respond to it this way. And this is what players will refer to as immediate timing. And immediate timing is incredibly important. Immediate timing is incredibly important because if they're just running up and doing this, this is called an immediate timing, right? Something that's not immediate would be dashing forward, dashing back, and then down 3-4, something like that. So that's not an immediate timing. Immediate timing is literally just them closing the space and then doing down 3-4. And your best response, if something like this happens, when you see the space close, you just respond with a good keep out tool. Or if you're a character with a magic 4 of some sort, when you see the response, your response to this gap closing should be just pressing your magic 4 button, right? To avoid this altogether when you see this space close. The other response that you can have to an immediate timing to down 3-4 is when you see the space close, is to just sidestep or sidewalk left. I think the best response is actually sidewalk left and then block, so that if this happens, you can still be in this situation where you can block after you sidewalk left. And it cancels out this thing, Peacekeeper, right? It cancels out Peacekeeper, which is also a move that is weak to sidestep, sidewalk left. So if you do this, you still end up behind him. And this is a really bad spot for Hwoarang because, well, you have his back is to you, right? This is all guaranteed, 92 damage. So yeah, this is your method of playing around these two moves, the immediate timing of these two moves, right? I'm not gonna look at Peacekeeper, because Peacekeeper, this is a whole nother stance you're dealing with, which is right foot forward stance. This is something completely different. So we're not gonna worry about this. We're gonna focus on these 4 moves here. Down 3-4 we already covered. This is possibly the most dangerous. This is the most dangerous situation to be in, because Hwoarang is at plus 14 on this move. See this? Plus 14 on hit. This is incredibly dangerous. The other options don't leave Hwoarang at as nearly plus. 1-2-4 plus 3 into right flamingo. 2-4 plus 3. And then down back plus 3. So these all leave Hwoarang in the exact same situation. So when you want to play around your options, know that these 3, you're going to respond the same way, right? because he's still in right flamingo, and he's also going to be at +3 for all of these. The only outlier, as I said before, is down 3-4. This is the only outlier for getting into right flamingo. For people who are new to this character, who have never played against Hwoarang, it's important to know one thing about his stances. Whether it's right flamingo or left flamingo, regardless of what flamingo he's in, he cannot block. He cannot block once he's in flamingo. If Hwoarang ever enters into flamingo, he is incentivized to press buttons. He has no option but to basically press buttons because his sidesteps are very, very, very hindered when in this stance, and because there's no other way for him to get out of it quickly. And this is why a lot of times he has these power crushes in flamingo, right? But going on, I'm gonna talk about down 3-4 first, because this is everybody's nightmare to deal with. This is everybody's nightmare. We'll go with the highs first. These are the most dangerous moves, in my opinion, after down 3-4. This is the first scenario you're gonna encounter. Down 3-4 into this jab. This is one of the most dangerous options Hwoarang has, because this thing is +5 jab. This is a +5 jab. A lot of times when people get counter hit, they're not thinking that this jab is the reason. But a lot of times when you're getting trapped, it's because of this jab. So this is one of the fastest options that he has, and it's a high. What makes this jab so good? One, it's dangerous because it's +5 and it will frame trap you if you try to mash. Two, if he decides to only just do this jab and this jab alone, you cannot launch this. This is incredibly hard. Do you see this? I'm trying to do a while standing 4. Okay, there, we got a punish. But you're not gonna launch this. This jab, as we've seen, is incredibly fast on recovery, right? If you're trying to punish this, in my opinion, your best option is to do a while standing 4. As you saw, we were trying to while standing punish the punch. We're trying to deal with this, right? We're trying to get a read on this. But this is where it gets tricky. If I try to do this, trying to do a while standing 4 punish on a jab, this is what happens. I get hit by fucking flappy kicks. And this is an 8 frame. The flappy kicks, this flappy part, that's 8 frames to come out from stance. This is 8 frames to come out. If you mash, or if you try to while standing punish the jab, because you think, oh, Hwoarang's gonna do this jab, I'm going to do while standing 4 to catch the jab, this is what's gonna happen. You're just gonna get launched with flappy kicks. Let's talk about flappy kicks a little bit more. The flappy kicks part, these are all highs. If you try, you cannot jab in between these if he keeps looping this. You cannot jab if he continuously loops this. And the reason why is because each of these flappy kicks is +1. Each of these is +1, and the first flappy kick that comes out is 8 frames, essentially making this a 7-frame move. You have to high crush this. If a Hwoarang player continuously does this, right, your answer is basically to high crush. Now, to deal with this flappy kicks, right? To deal with this, if he does finish the string, obviously the last hit, You can duck and punish. You can actually duck and punish. Right? It's a high. It's all highs. But let's say he doesn't finish the flappy kicks. Hwoarang needs to do something else out of right flamingo immediately to take advantage of the +1 frames. Otherwise, if he doesn't do anything, you could just fucking run up and then just jet upper his ass or launch him. So he's incentivized to press more buttons. Which leads me to how to properly punish this. If you block down 3-4 and you try to do an immediate while standing punish because you think down 3-4 is a low-high string, you will get clipped by flappy kicks and launched, right? You will get clipped by this and you will get launched. And every character who's got a high crushing move, it will be your best interest to use that. Right? It will be your best interest to block this and use a high crushing attack. Northern Cross will be the answer for Brian if you block down 3-4. Because the flappy kicks is really tricky. Mostly because you don't know when this last hit is coming. You can try to time it, but it's very hard. Right? You can time this. But it's very, very tight. It's very, very tight, this timing. So that's why I suggest using a high crushing move if you block down 3-4. If you block down 3-4, that's your best option. The other reason you would duck, right, besides avoiding the flappy kicks, is to avoid the lows. And let me go into the lows, and then we'll talk about the mids that can come out. Okay, this is the low, and this is the other low. He's only got 2 lows in right flamingo, and those are the only 2 reasons why you would, aside from the flappy kicks, those are the only reasons to really duck Hwoarang. Because of this hell sweep, right? Or the seeable low, which is the snake edge. Right, this snake edge. Those are the only reasons to really duck Hwoarang. This snake edge is very weird in the way that it looks, but it is 28 frames to come out. Just be aware that this is reactable and should be practiced. The hell sweep, on the other hand, this is kind of whatever. But what makes this hell sweep so potent as a tool is the sheer amount of pushback this thing has. It works very well, this hell sweep, with in conjunction to Hwoarang's kit. Because Hwoarang's goal is to get you to the wall so that he can start doing all this flamingo stuff where you cannot backdash out from. So look at where I am. This hell sweep has pushed me almost all the way to the wall, right? Basically, in 2 iterations of a hell sweep, I am basically at the wall with 2 hell sweeps. And this is what makes this hell sweep kind of really, really important to Hwoarang's toolkit. It's not just, oh yeah, it's a way for me to open up my opponent if he's just stand blocking, but it also gives him a lot of pushback to move you to the wall where he wants you to be. You're only ducking Hwoarang for basically 3 moves. You're either ducking Hwoarang for these lows here, because you think he's going to do one of these lows, or you think that he's going to be doing flappy kicks, right? You're ducking because you think he's doing flappy kicks, or these lows. And as we already talked about, if you block down 3-4, you need to have a set punishment. You need to be consistent on what you want to punish with. Now, moving on to the mids. Okay. These are the mids. These are the reason Hwoarang does not want you to duck. This house sweep, he obviously doesn't want you to duck this house sweep, right? So how can Hwoarang get you to not duck this house sweep? Well, he has a launcher. This mid is the main reason he does not want you to duck the house sweep. And he can get you to not duck it because this is obviously going to be a launcher. All right, so this move, if you're afraid of the mids, right, and you say like I don't want to duck Hwoarang, then this mid here, get this down, practice this shit, because this is going to be important. 10 frame. After down 3-4, that's why hop kick is normally not used. It's normally not used, right? Because this is -13. So you can 12 frame punish it, 13 frame punish it, and that's why this hop kick is rarely used. If Hwoarang wants to mix you up between a mid or a low, then heel lance is going to be your better option, which is back three from Flamingo, right Flamingo. Everything basically he presses under the sun is going to be a frame trap after down 3-4. I'm just going to lay that out there. Aside from the lows, everything is a frame trap after down 3-4. Everything. We got that? Everything. After down 3-4, you cannot step. All you can do is low block, standing block, or mash if you think he's going to motion switch, right? If you think he's going to motion switch and switch stances, then you can mash. Motion switch, motion switch, motion switch, motion switch, motion switch. To avoid this kind of stuff, you're specifically mashing for this. This is the reason to throw out a YOLO launcher. That is the only reason that you're throwing out this YOLO launcher. Now, some of the safest options for Hwoarang, if he wants to be up close, with you after he does down 3-4, is going to be Flamingo Jab 1. This move that I just did, RFS 1, it's -2 on block. This is your way out of pressure. If he does this, he is -2, right? He is -2. This is technically your turn, okay? And I do this with finger brackets because we all know that -2 doesn't really mean anything. Yeah, it's a safe mid check. He has another mid move, which gives him +1. This is down forward 4. This is a counter hit launcher as well. It is +1 on block. What this usually entails is that after down 3-4, let's say he does down 3-4 into this, your best option is to backdash away. If you backdash away, you're at a really good range, right? You're at a really good range, especially for Brian. Especially for Brian, because when this backdash happens, right? You're in a perfect range for 3+4. Perfect range. This is ideal fucking range for Brian's 3+4. And this is why Hwoarang may not necessarily want to do this attack. Because if you backdash out, he's basically relieved you of pressure. Even though he's at +1, right? Even though he's at +1, this +1 doesn't really translate over unless you're at the wall. If we're at the wall, this is a completely different story. This is a completely different story at the wall. So be aware of your surroundings in that situation. Obviously, you cannot backdash that. So this is where Hwoarang might actually want to do this mid here, because it's only -2 and there's a mix-up. There is a mix-up here. My turn. No, it's not. I just sidestep and got launched, right? So this -2, if you want to take your turn, you might just whiff something and get launched. Just because you're at +2 doesn't necessarily mean that it's your turn. So let's say something like this happens, right? Right? I just got launched because I wanted to take my turn at the -2. What this introduces now is a mind game in and of itself. Because this happened to us previously, let's say this happens to us previously. Right? Something like this, right? Because we tried to press at -2 and we got launched and we're like, oh shit, we need to be patient. We need to be patient after this. Well, then something like this can happen. We're not taking our frames, and then we get looped into another down 3-4. So, what does this say? You need to vary up how you take your frames. If you're at -2, don't always press a button, but also don't always not take your frames. Sometimes take your frames immediately, other times don't press a button and wait, or better yet, movement, right? Movement. Incorporate movement when you're at minus frames. Don't just think of it as black and white. Press or don't press. There's also movement involved. So add that to your repertoire. It's like the down forward 1 mind game. Exactly. It's 100% like the down forward 1 mind game. Okay, so let's get to this move. Homing Power Crush gives +13 on hit. Very, very, very powerful tool. More scary at the wall, but still nonetheless a really good move. This is -12. This is not safe. This is not safe. If you block this, you need to punish it. And this move kind of gives you plenty of time to actually punish because it's a slowish move. It's a very distinct animation. At the wall, this is a wall splat. This is a homing Power Crush wall splat. So you need to be very careful about what you do at the wall against Hwoarang. Okay, so that about does it for down 3-4. Okay, so arguably that was a pretty long video, I know, but I wanted to flush out and teach you guys as best as I possibly can with my knowledge about down 3-4 and the possibilities of the follow-ups afterwards and how to kind of deal with them if and when you block them. Anyways, so one of the other things I wanted to talk about, but the video, because it got too long, is dealing with the other strings that Hwoarang has that transitions him into right flamingo. 1-2-4, 2-4, down back 4 forward, and up 4, right? These moves also transition him into flamingo, but that's going to be for another video. Part 3. Thanks for watching, guys, and joining me on this video. Also, thank you so much, patrons, for your ever so gracious support. Without you, this would have not been possible. And if you're new here and you like what you see, consider subscribing and hitting that bell notification icon. Below in the descriptions, as always, I also have my links to my Discord, Twitter, Twitch, and Patreon page. See ya next time.